Hello friends, this is Niladri Mohapatra once again, and today we got another video, and in this video we'll try to learn screen administration within Jira. In earlier two videos we already talked about the administrations of issue types, then we talked about administration on the custom fields and field configurations. There are another aspect when we talk about screen administration, and that is when you work on Jira, there are multiple times you see different screens, but we most of the time don't notice or observe that the screens are coming at different operations. For an example, when we are creating, there is a screen. When we are editing the same issues, we have some screen, and similarly when we are viewing just one issues with the details, there are some screen. So we'll talk about how we can administrate issues, related fields, and with the operations. So how it's exactly happen, let's try to find out now. So we know that we have projects that we already have talked about, and within projects we create issue type screen scheme. And within issue type screen scheme, we have screen schemes, and within screen scheme, we have screen for issue types and fields. These are the structure for configuring screen. The configurations of screen is little complicated, but the use is very simplified. Use in the sense, when we are using a Jira by the configurations that we had made at the back end, the use is easy, but the configuration is little complicated. But once you understand that, you will not feel that this is that complicated. So when we configure any of the screen, or when we administrate any of the screen within Jira, there are 5 areas that we need to look into: projects, what issue types, what are the operation we are doing, and then we'll be having screen, and within screen we'll be having fields. So let's try to understand that in a little deeper way. So now we know that we have project, and I know there are multiple projects that we are working on, and there are multiple fields also. We already have created few or fewer inbuilt fields in Jira. Now let's try to understand the screen scheme 1, screen scheme 2, or screens, what exactly the screen scheme is. So again, this scheme is a bucket. Each scheme is a bucket, and within this bucket we says, okay, for screen scheme 1, edit will be, if I am doing operation edit, screen 1 will come. If I am doing operation create, screen 2 will come, and if we are doing view, screen 3 will come. So this is one structure, that one of the screen scheme. I am just making multiple screen scheme and associating operations and the target screen. Each screen will be having multiple fields. So for an example, here I can see I have screen 1 with some set of field, I have screen 2 with some set of field, and screen 3 I have some set of fields over here, and similarly we will be having multiple screens. Screen 2, where I can say edit and create, both will open screen 4, but view, if I am viewing, then I will be having screen 5. Now so far we have not associated with any of this project. I can see screen scheme 3 is again for viewing, I am picking screen 6. If I have not assigned any operations with screen, the default in this case I will be picking the screen 7. And this is just a configurations, yet not it's actually mapped with our projects, because before mapping into the project we need to associate a issue type. So for what kind of issue type, what screen scheme will come. So let's try to understand in the next screen that I know this is what I have configured so far: screen scheme 1, 2 and 3. Now I have issue type screen scheme, and for example I have issue type screen scheme 1, where for bug I will be using screen scheme 1 for this one. If rest of all the issue types will pick the screen scheme 2. Similarly, I have another issue type screen scheme 2, where I will be using bug for screen scheme 1. Screen scheme 3 will be used for story and epic, and 2 will be used for rest of all the issue types. Now issue type screen scheme 3 this is what we have configured. For bug, screen scheme 2, story screen scheme 3, task screen scheme 1, epic screen scheme 2, default screen scheme 2. This is what we have configured, and we mapped with our projects with the issue type screen scheme. So now there is a 2 levels of hierarchy we just got. Earlier on issue types administrations or field administration, we were just having one scheme and associating the scheme with the project. Here we have 2 layers of scheme. One scheme I am just associating all the operations with the screen, and another scheme I am just mapping my screen scheme with issue types. Now, based on this configuration, for an example, if I want to edit any bug for production support, so which screen will come? So, to identify that, for production support, if I am editing a bug, I will go for bug is using screen scheme 1. So, screen scheme 1 editing is coming for screen 1. Similarly, if I want to create a user story under product support, what screen will appear when I am creating a user story? So, user story is not mapped under the scheme that I am associated with production support. If I am looking into production support, I have bug, rest everything is default. That means user story will come under part of default. Default is using screen scheme 2, and screen scheme 2 for creating is using screen 4. Now, at this point, just take a moment, pause this slide here and try to understand. Let me finish, then you will pause it. Okay. So, if I am just giving one exercise that try to find out if you want to create a new bug under ecom project, which screen will come? The right answer is, if you look into ecom, bug, screen scheme 2 and you are creating, so it will be taking the screen 4. The next task, again I am just giving something. If you want to create a task under new screen, if you want to edit a task under new screen team, which screen will come? Pause it and think. The right answer is, if you want to edit and create, what will happen? So, first you need to locate which screen scheme it is actually using. For new Scrum team, task is not appeared here, that means I will pick the default. Default will be there for every screen scheme, issue type screen scheme or screen scheme if there is not yet mapped for all the issue types. So, for default the screen scheme 2 will come, and for screen scheme 2 the screen 4 will be coming. So, now you can take few time and do the some exercise. What we will be doing is we will try to replicate this in Jira. Okay, so let us jump into Jira and try to find out how the structures is currently we are having. So, this is my Jira. In Jira I can see I have Jira admin practices, that is what I have actually created for this particular video. We will come here and quickly, as you already know, that to understand what schemes it is currently associated with this particular projects, I will go with project settings and I can click on summary or I can click on screens. From any of the places I can get that. Now, from the screens I can see it is actually using JAP Scrum default screen scheme and JAP Scrum bug screen scheme. So, here I do not have directly associated any issue type screen scheme is not yet created. I have just created for bug, this screen scheme should appear, and for rest of all the types this screen scheme should appear. So, there are 2 screen scheme. One is Scrum bug. Okay, so this is what I have created, Scrum bug screen scheme and Scrum default screen scheme. So, what happened in Jira by default? Jira treat bug in a different way because there are few fields they keep it separate for bugs. So, always they create a screen scheme for bug and screen scheme for rest of the area. So, what I can have right now for any of the project, I can see I have a screen scheme. This is my Scrum issue type screen scheme. Now within Scrum issue type screen scheme, I have two different screen scheme. Try to understand that one is issue type screen scheme, another is just screen scheme. So issue type screen scheme have multiple screen scheme associated with bug or associated with issue types. So here I have Scrum bug screen scheme. This is bug associated with bug, and the default screen scheme is associated with rest of all the issue types. So I have default and bug for this one. So I have screen scheme 1. This screen scheme 1 is named here as Scrum bug screen scheme, and screen scheme 2 is named here as Scrum default screen scheme. So what we'll be doing is we'll be started from something little scratch, we can say, but we will not be creating the entire screen. What we can do is we will be creating couple of we'll copying couple of the existing screen and made some modifications, because if you want to create a new screen, there may be some fields you need to move them, even those are already there. So we'll be copying them and made some changes, and to we'll see how we can have that. So what we'll be doing is we'll create a screen scheme 1, and to create that what we'll do is we need to go to administration. Click on this particular gear icon and then click on issues. Now inside issues I can have, so see there are sections you have in your Jira. For issue types you have issue types and issue type schemes. For workflows I have workflows and workflow schemes. For fields I have custom fields, field configurations and field configuration schemes. But for screens I have screen schemes and issue type screen scheme. So first what I need to do is I want to have some screen. For an example, when I am editing a story, that's actually the scenario. When I am editing a story, for an example, this project currently we are looking at, if we are editing a story, we need to have all the estimations point, like for an example your story point estimation, your effort estimations and remaining estimations, everything should come together at one place. So what we will be doing is we will create a new screen. So I will say new gen story screen for edit and view. So this is actually name I am giving so that I can later correlate what screen I have created for what purpose. So new gen story screen for edit and view purpose. This is the screen I have created. Now do I want to add some field? Because if you create a field or create a screen for the first time, you need to add all the fields. So ideally, even I have just created to show you that how you can create a new screen if you want to create it from the scratch. So I'll go back to screens once again. I'll delete this one, new gen. So I'll delete it from here. I'll copy one and start changing there. So I'll delete this one. I'll delete it, and then I'll look for the screens I am currently using. So for JAP, this is your default issue screen. Now I'll just make a copy from here. So this is my issue screen right now I am using. How do I identify it? Because my project currently the alias is JAP, and within JAP there are only two screen schemes right now. So I will be just copying this one and I'll give the name. I have copied that, so I'm just pasting it here, and I have given the name. This is the new screen name, and I'll copy it. Now once I have copied it, I can now modify that. So I'll be searching it once again and I'll configuring it now. If as I have copied it, all the fields that was there was already came up. Now what I want to do is I want to create a tab, and the tab I am giving estimation. So within this tab, what I will be doing is I look for, is there any stories or story points, anything coming up here? No. So, I will start adding within that tab. You can also create or add some new fields right after here, but I will be creating somewhere here and I will be adding fields here. So, one field is story points, that I know, and for your remaining time or original effort, for that field is time tracking. So, the one field will add two more fields. So, enabling one field will be adding two more field within your projects. Now, this is what I have done, and this is auto saved. I do not want to save anything, I have just configured. Now, this screen is not yet part of my scheme. So, first thing what I will be doing is I will go to screen schemes, and first let us try to understand what are the screen schemes I am right now using. So, I have a JAP Scrum bug screen and JAP default screen scheme. So, I will be just modifying this screen scheme. So, when I am talking about screen scheme, I am talking about this area, one particular area, one box is my screen scheme. These are the screen scheme what I have. You need to give little focus, and you may need to watch this video 2-3 times, because this is little complicated, but once you will do it in your end and complete the cycle, you will be super confident. So, let us try to go ahead. Instead of making a new one, or I can create a new one. For an example, there is not much detail here. If you click on this particular screen scheme, it is actually having everything is default, there is no nothing is mentioned. So, for our learning, I will be creating a new screen scheme, and I will be giving for an example what we are doing. We are creating it for one project, and for this scheme is for user story. So, we just need this for user story. So, I will be creating new gen user story. New gen I am just giving it for, so that I can identify it later that which schemes I have created, because there will be lots of schemes you will be noticing in your Jira for your organization when we will be administrating. So, to give some name that you can easily identify is always a good practice. So, now new gen user story screen scheme. Last time what we have created? We had created a screen. Now, what I am creating? I am creating a scheme. So, scheme, okay, there is a spelling mistake. The spelling, though, it is not a problem, but I am just updating it based on the best practices. I will add a screen scheme. So, last time what we have created one screen. Now, I am creating this screen scheme 2. So, when I am creating a screen scheme 2, I need to add these values, like for create which screen will come, for view which screen will come. So, for now everything is coming as default, but for this everything will go as default. I will add an operation, and in these operations I will be saying in case only edit, I will be having new gen story screen scheme, and I will add one more associations, and that will be my view, and over here also I want new gen story. So, my this bucket, name of this my bucket is new gen user story screen scheme. So, new gen, this is one scheme, because I will, why I have given a name as user story, because I know I will be associating this scheme with some of the issue types, and that will be bug. So, now in this issue scheme I have for edit I have this one, for view I have this one. So, edit and view, or edit and view I have clubbed with one screen, or these are my screens, and all default will take the Scrum bug screen. Now, this is what I have done. Now, I will go for issue type screen scheme. Now, in the issue type screen scheme, you can go for identify what the issue type screen scheme this one is using. It is using JAP Scrum issue type screen scheme that we actually have observed when we are looking into our project settings. Now, I can actually copy this, and I will give a new name so that I can use it, new gen issue type screen scheme. So what I am creating right now, this is the issue type screen scheme, that is I am creating. I have created one screen scheme and I have mapped with multiple multiple operations or single operations with the particular screen. Now you might be having, if I am why we need to create multiple screen scheme, you may need to have different permutation combinations or need for different projects. So I am targeting one project right now, so I am working for one project. You can assign the same screen scheme to another project as well. We'll look into that in a moment. So I'm just copying this one. So this one new gen is now copied. If I want to search it, somewhere it will be coming new gen. Where does that gone? Okay, this is new gen screen scheme. I'll configure this one. So over here it's already took the default, because why it's already took, because I am just copied one. So earlier whatever it was there, it's coming up like that. Now here I can associate an issue type with a screen scheme. I am creating this issue type screen scheme. Within that I will associate a issue type with a screen scheme. So what I will be doing is I will create a issue type, that's my user story, and I will associate my new gen. So if you give your project name, when you are creating all these schemes and screens, it will be very easy for you to map for that particular purpose, and I have added it. So now I know for story, this is my screen scheme. Within this screen scheme, if I am doing something within this screen scheme, I have two operations. Edit view is one operation having one screen, and for default I will be having this screen. Now so far we have created a screen, then we have created screen scheme 2 and map this screen scheme, or we have created a screen scheme, map this screen scheme with my issue type screen scheme. So in my issue type screen scheme, if I see if I go into my issue type screen schemes and search for this new gen, I will be able to identify that within my issue type screen scheme all these issue types is taken care of. For bug it will take this one, for story this will be taking this issue type screen, and for default it will be taking for this one. Now what is left? Connecting with your projects and this issue type screen scheme. How we will be doing that? Let's go to the project. So what I will be doing, I will go to project and I will select my project over here quickly. I will go to the project settings. And once I have clicked on the project settings, I will be looking for screens, and once you have opened your screen, there will be a button called action, where you can have options for use a different scheme. Now I am using a different screen, and the scheme I will be using a new gen issue type screen scheme. This is what we have created so far. So let's try to understand this. Once we have done, what is the effect it is coming to. So if I click on plus sign now, that's my creation of a user story. I don't have anything like any tabs or anything. So I can create a test of new screen. This is just I am writing so that we can locate it better. Is there anything mandatory we had? Let's try to create it. And I think something was mandatory, how to demo. Where is how to demo? This is environment. Okay, so how to demo is not part of this screen. So what we need to do is we need to add that how to demo. We had made it mandatory in our previous video for an examples, and that how to demo is not appearing over here. So the first thing what we need to do is we cannot create at this point of time, we need to add that for our project. So if I look into, this is my issue type story screen scheme, and this is my new gen, this is the screen. Within that screen we need to add how to demo, and that will be adding within that screen itself. So, let us click on this one, and once it will open, we will add the how to demo. How to demo is here. Okay, how to demo is already there, I believe. Okay, so if it is already there, we should be able to create it. So, where is how to demo? Anyone able to see that how to demo? No, how to demo is not coming for creation. So, that means if I go into my operations, for any creations there is a different screen. Now, this is very interesting. You need to understand that if I go into my new gen screen scheme, my new gen screen scheme have two different kind of operation. For story, this is using new gen story screen scheme, and it have actually two different screen. One is for creations, this will be used for creation, and these two will be used for your editions or viewing. So, at the time when we create a story, because that is a default operation, and if I look into this screen, this is a different screen where I do not have any tab, and how to demo was also not part of that. So, I will be adding how to demo and move it somewhere near description. Okay, this is now I have added. Now, let us try to understand what exactly we have done here, and why the how to demo was not coming when we were adding this particular screen. That is because we have two operations. That how to demo field was visible under this screen, as it is a mandatory. Jira will not let you go ahead without filling the data, but if the field is not visible, you will not be able to add the data. The field was there in the screen when we will be doing editing and view user. If you remember, we created a tab, and within a tab we have all those estimation field. But the default screen for the bug that we were using, and now this is a Scrum bug screen, we can still change that, or we can associate another operation for create issues, and we can select something else. We will be doing something else in a moment. Now, at this point of time, if I click on plus sign, and I can see this how to demo is now appearing because we have added to that screen. Now, I am giving testing screen for story type, and how to demo is check if the tab is coming. I will create this one. So, there is no estimation tab over here. So, I do not have your story point estimations, or I do not have that effort estimation, because at the time of creations I said okay, you do not need to fill in that, and this is not mandatory that you will be following that as your agile practice. This is I am just showing you as an example how you can change customizations, do customizations on your Jira. The implementations you will do based on the best requirement or best industry practices your organization is doing. Now, let us go back to our backlog and see what we have in our backlog. So, I am clicking on project to go to the backlog. I will open the project and it will take me to the backlog, and in my backlog I will able to see that testing screen for story type is now coming here, and I have how to demo. The two fields that I was talking about, that was the tab options, and the tab options do not come in issue detail view. This is the issue detail view. To look into that, I will be clicking over here, and it will be showing in a this is your new generation screens, where you will be looking into the visibility will be coming like this. So, your estimation, story points and time tracking for any tab, it will be appear over here. So, it is a different one. I have estimation story point, I have time tracking, I have estimations, and time tracking, those are coming up like this. But if you actually look into the old view of Jira, this is a new view. If I switch to the old view by clicking on the see the old view, where the screen appearance will be little different. So here this is your view screen, and in this view screen, if you click on edit, you have two tabs here. So field, all the fields, and your estimation. In your old view, your estimations will be show you as original estimate and remaining estimate in a two different text box. But if you are going into a new view, so this is what I have. I will just go back to my new view, because most of the time you will be working on the new view. And once it is loaded, this estimations, you see this estimations is actually the tab name. It shows as a folder, and you can have multiple fields under that estimations. It will be show up another tab. So all the tabs comes up here. Now what you can do is you can add some more tab over there. For an example, you want to give all these people related information on your new tab. So what I will be doing is I will go back to my screen, and this is the screen that I was talking about. I will create one more tab, and where I will say okay, people. So when I am talking about people, who can be the part of the people? Your reporter can be part of the people. Then I can have my assignee, that can also be part of people. Now by doing so, this is a altogether different screen, and I have people, in people I have assignee and reporter, and one more I can add one more field, a custom field that we had created yesterday. I do not remember what was the field name. I think some approver or something I had created, if I remember. Let me quickly find out if I can locate that. Mobile data position, project team, relevant. Okay, subject matter expert, I remember now. Okay, so subject matter expert, one field that I have created, and it's not appearing here, maybe because that is already over here. So let's see. Yes, subject matter expert is coming up here, so I will be moving it here. So I have three fields over here. Now I have two tabs, estimations and people. Now if I go back to my this particular screen, this is your new view of your user stories, and if I look into this particular screen now in a view state, I will be able to see those two folder icon. One is the estimation and one is people. So if I click on people, it shows reporter, assignee and subject matter expert. If I click on estimation, it will be to show me all estimation related. So this is very quickly you can toggle and you can group your fields accordingly. So this is a tab you create, it creates a group. But these all information this story point and time tracking in this tabular view, it will not be appearing if you are modifying some other types. So let us go back to backlog, and I will be opening, instead of story I will be opening something else. So for an example, I am opening a bug or a test enabler. Okay, let us take that also. So if I am open text enabler, you can see in this particular issue detail view, I do not have that information. I have subject matter expert directly coming up here, assignee and reporter are coming up, but it is not in a folder structure. The estimations that I had created, that is not appearing because it is not part of that screen, it is appearing. Now for this particular issue type, this is a custom issue type that we are using. For now this particular project, if we talk about this custom issue types, how it is associated, which screen it is associated. If we want to find it, what we will be doing is for we will go to the project settings. Okay, let us go to the project settings, and from there we will drill down to the screen level. I will click on summary. In the summary also you will be able to see all these options, screens, fields, everything. I know this is the screen scheme that I am using, and it's using three screen scheme. This is my issue type screen scheme. One is default issue scheme, another is Scrum bug issue scheme, another is new gen story screen scheme. So if I open this screen scheme, it will show me, okay, for bug I have Scrum and Scrum bug screen scheme, and if I open this one, Scrum bug issue screen, this is actually something I can edit it from here. And over here I can see for all default operations, this is the screen it will be bringing up, Scrum bug screen. And in the Scrum bug screen, I can see there is no tabs, and that's where you actually drill down to find out. Ideally, if you don't want to create your own screen or own schemes, you can drill down like this and make the modification. But the problem there is, if your screen scheme is used by other project or associated with other project, that project will get affected as well. So if you want to just make that effect only for your one project, then you can do it. Or similarly, if you want to do it for multiple projects, you can go to each project and change the issue type screen scheme. Now this is my bug screen. Now in the bug screen, if I want to add some field, for an example, I want to have dates. I am creating one tab here. Okay, and in this tab I can have for an example what I can have from anything. I can able to add it here, no. So let's add something from here. I can say created date, anything related to date. Okay, dev done date, due date, start date, there are many things is coming. So let's just add them. Due date, I am not talking about their details. Start date, then I have ETA. So this is what I have added. This is for bug. Okay, and I am just once you have added, this is done. You just need to refresh on your this is bug screen, and if I am now doing it for if I am opening any bug. Now let's just refresh it, or where does that go on? It's still opening. Okay, so here I think there was one folder, yeah, dates, and from dates if you click here, I can see my dev done dates, due dates and start date is coming. For example, at in one point of time you realized for the description section I want something called environment. This is what also we have modified. This environment, you don't need this environment right now. You want to remove this environment, because all big text field will come up over here and the small value field will come up on your right hand side in this new view. Now if you want to remove that, the same thing you can do. You can go into here and you can see, okay, environment is coming up, and you can actually remove this from here. If you want to add it later, you can add it directly from here and select environment. It will add up, then you can do a drag and drop and put it there. Now once you have done that, and if I refresh it, you see this environment will vanish. Now there is no environment will be coming up. So this is how you will be customizing your screen based on different issue types, based on different operation. Only thing I know, still it's little confusing for you. You may need to watch this video 2-3 more times, and once you have done that, you need to practice something. You can install a fresh version of Jira where you don't have any other scheme. Start it from the scratch, create one project and start working on you create one project, and from that project you can create one issue type screen, then you can create a screen scheme, and then you will be mapping with the operations, and then you will have that issue type screen scheme mapped with your project. So once you will be doing it for 2-3 times, I believe you will able to practice that very easily, and that's what the goal is for this particular video, to make you understand how you can administrate screens, and that's one of the complicated area of administrations when you are doing your Jira administration. The next topic or next video that will be coming up, or you can watch, is workflow administration. Until that time, I believe you got what exactly you have wanted to learn from this one, do some practices, ask questions, mail me if you have any doubts or anything. I'll happy to help you out. We'll come up with the new video. Until that time, have a wonderful day. Bye bye.